Well, hey everybody, I'm John Redlin with a review of AEW Dark from Pittsburgh. This was another decent episode. I do like that we're getting these dark matches and that sometimes there's some decent storylines and some possible feuds teased, or even in the case of the first match, a new team that could possibly be teased. They could be a pretty fun goddamn team. So we have Tony Schiavone run down the card and, he says, hey, here are the matches you're going to expect, and get typical recaps and stuff like that during the show. And we have a Peter Avalon promo. Look, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to go for the old school heat of him making fun of the sports teams and everything. Oh, your sports teams suck, this kind of stuff. He's just not very good. He's just not very good at promos. He's not horrible in the ring, but the librarian gimmick is absolutely atrocious. It's fucking rotten. It's one of the worst things about AEW. That and the Dark Order, and I got a few other things that I think are the worst aspects of AEW. And maybe I'll talk about that in an end of year thing and talk about stuff that AEW did right and stuff that they're doing wrong, which you could say about any company. But anyway, we have Dustin Rhodes and Sonny Kiss teaming up and even matching gear. This was pretty cool against QT Marshall. He did had the Undesirable to Undeniable show, little interview piece recently where he'd had a severe neck injury and had to be out of wrestling, has been training people. And this was like a comeback match of sorts. And it was pretty cool to see this guy who has worked really, really hard and has helped train a lot of people get back in the ring, even if it was just I would say a throwaway dark match, except for Dustin Rhodes and Sonny Kiss teaming up. And, oh, by the way, QT Marshall teamed up with Peter Avalon. Leva Bates is also there. Can we talk about how Leva Bates really isn't all that good, and that maybe the whole blue pants thing that happened in NXT years ago and other stuff maybe just masked the fact that it was just a gimmick and that she's kind of just not very good in the ring, and Peter Avalon isn't really all that great either, and the librarian gimmick, again, really fucking sucks really, really badly. I would hate it in WWE, and I'm going to hate it in AEW. It's just an objectively terrible gimmick. Put these two in something else, maybe it could work. Probably not. They're kind of dead in the water already, but finally, we get Sonny Kiss in another match. I know he was in a recent AEW Dark match, and that's great, but just feature the guy on TV. I hope that he's at least part of some match of Full Gear, even if it's just on the pre-show, and then start featuring him on TV. Him and Dustin worked really goddamn well in this match. I think they have some good chemistry. This could work pretty well in their favor, and hey, they need some tag teams that are actually pretty legit. Even though they have some good tag teams, having more wouldn't hurt. It would give Dustin something to do. It would give a nice rub to Sonny. And it would be a good way to play off the veteran and the up-and-comer. Even though Sonny has wrestled for a number of years, Dustin Rhodes has that wealth of experience, and yes, it could benefit both of them, and I think it could be a pretty fun team. It was nice to see QT Marshall there. He did some decent moves, including tonight's handspring, moonsault didn't really work all that well. He kind of just ended up crashing into the mat. Dig us some nice Sonny Kiss chants. That was pretty cool. Some book antics where earlier in the match where Sonny Kiss was pretending to be interested in the book and that kind of stuff and everything, and he was sitting on Peter Avalon using like a chair. That was some pretty good stuff, or like a park bench. In the end, Dustin Rhodes gets the win. Thank God. Leva Bates does a bump. I think that's the first goddamn bump that she's actually done where she looked like she knew what the fuck she was doing in an AEW ring. She wasn't even in the match. Look, again, she could be a lovely person, but I'm just not seeing the hype around Leva Bates. But anyway, yeah, Dustin Rhodes gets the win. Him and Sonny Kiss celebrate. Check out the AEW Twitter. And it might even be on their YouTube channel. I didn't check that, but I did see a post-match interview that they had where, it was really good stuff between Sonny Kiss and Dustin Rhodes. I really like this. And then we get a women's match. We go right into the women's match. It's Sadie Gibbs, Penelope Ford, Allie, and Emmy Sakura in a four-way match. I want to say that these women did work really hard. They did have some good exchanges, and there was some really good wrestling here. There was. The problem also is they had some weird edits, like stuff would just jump, and it only jumped a few seconds, like they were trying to hide that a botch happened, or that they just had weird edits, something happened in the feed. I'm not sure. Botches are going to happen, there's no doubt about that. So if the edits were to cover that, maybe maybe lay out these matches a little bit better. Help like showcase these women in the best goddamn light, because especially with Sadie Gibbs, I think she's somebody that could be a big goddamn star. Allie is good, maybe not as good as some people say, but I think it's better than a lot of her detractors say. Emmy Sakura did have the crowd on their feet at some points. Penelope Ford has improved. She has done quite well getting better in the ring, but I think Sadie Gibbs is head and shoulders the star of this particular quartet. The weird edits kind of threw me off though. I just didn't understand it. Sakura did get a nice double stretch at one point. Then Penelope Ford got a stretch on her. That was a pretty cool spot. Again, he just threw it off, but then it did go a bit too long. That is my one complaint about this match. It probably could have ended about 3 minutes sooner than it did. There was a nice Sakura chant. That was cool. She did hit a Tiger Driver variation on Penelope Ford, 1, 2, 3, right before the time limit expired. I think it was like a 15-minute time limit. So, okay, maybe that's why they were trying to build a drama, but it wouldn't have been weird to have a draw in a 4-way match. But hey, at least they're implementing the time limit thing. And then we get Undesirable to Undeniable with MJF. He tells a story about how he was the only Jewish kid on his football team, and there were people that picked on him, and he used that as motivation to work harder and get better. And I can say it as somebody that saw MJF at a couple Defy Northwest wrestling shows last year. MJF is a really good goddamn heel, and you can tell he's just getting better. Whether you think he's the best heel in wrestling or not, I think if he's not the top heel in wrestling, he's definitely up there. He's really goddamn good. I was happy to, even though it was a quick interview piece with Cody, it was really, really nice. Driving home the fact that they're friends, and that's probably why Cody is going to get, betrayed by MJF at Full Gear. And I'm actually going to offer, a reason why in the Full Gear predictions, bit of a little tease for you guys there. But then we get recaps of the tag tournament, and the poor Lucha Bros having a job to Marco fucking stunt, and that's all. I was fucking embarrassed watching that. It was so goddamn embarrassing. I check out the review that myself and Durbinator did, where I talk about how I was embarrassed by it. But anyway, we then get a Kip Sabian interview. Alex Marvez, better in interviews backstage. I think that's a good role for him to have, and I think it's a great idea, especially if you employ the guy and you want to keep him, at least for the extent of his contract. If they like him, if they think he's good, find a role for him. Backstage interviews may be it. And then we get Jimmy Havoc versus Jack Evans versus Darby Allin. 2 Washington guys, and sorry, Darby Allin is from the better part of Washington. Nothing against Parkland necessarily. I'm sure it's a lovely place. I've been there. It's not necessarily, whatever. Not that my town's great, but it is what it is. Darby, I've met Darby a few times. Darby is an absolutely incredible athlete. I've seen him live multiple times. I'm so happy for his success. And this is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Aubrey is the referee. So, of course, you got Aubrey, who's from Washington. You got Darby, and her and him have been involved in a lot of matches. And they know each other from, these various indie shows. And it's just great to see people from my state representing a big-time company. One that I hope can continue to succeed. Anyway, this match does go outside quickly. It's Falls Count Anywhere match. Aubrey's just kind of there. She gets around and, does a lot of these counts in the crowd, on the stage, that kind of stuff. Aubrey, being a great authoritarian as only she can be, or a great, beacon of authority, really is probably how I should have worded it. But it goes into the crowd. There's some dives off the stage. There's a reverse suplex on the stage, or inverted suplex, and Jack Evans does a nice dive off the stage. Back in the ring, we get some chair spots. Chairs stacked weirdly, sitting down yet, laying down kind of laying on their side, and a backbreaker on the chairs. Ouch. A, pile driver on the chairs, pile driver on the table. And then Darby hits the coffin drop, suddenly, hits Havoc, and then covers Evans, because Evans got put through the table just right before that. 1, 2, 3, Darby Allin gets the victory. That was the right call. And Darby, I really hope that if they do end up creating a mid-card title at some point, once they add some more depth to their roster, that hopefully Darby gets that. I don't think he'll be the champion, the main champion yet. But if he's not the main champion by sometime next year, I would be surprised. And I'm talking like sometime in like the summer or fall. So, despite all that, C plus. I mean, they weren't. The action was good for what it was, but some of the matches were a bit too long, and some of the story was what it was. But C plus for me. Still, go out of your way to see it. At least a Dustin Rhodes Sonny Kiss, team I think could work, and it was nice to see the women featured, and hopefully they push Sadie Gibbs pretty well, as I think she's a pretty big star. But anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.